Sounds like 8 o'clock. I wonder if we're on. Somebody give me a shout so that I know whether things are working as they should do, because as I say it's very new to me. So give me a shout. Somebody say something. Talk to me on the thing so that I know that you're there. There. What about that? Thank you very much indeed. Hello. Good evening and welcome. And thus far, we seem to be working. Now, what I'd like to do tonight, first of all, let me tell you that if this works, I want to carry on doing it. There's no doubt about that at all. Um, and in fact, a young Canadian gent is taking care of it all. He's kept this thing. It's got me this far. Let's put it that way. But the two things that I want. Oh, the other grandfather clock. Hang on a minute. That's two of them finished. The other one won't strike. And in any case, that's in another room. Right. We are trying to get to where we can play music, and it's very likely possible now. We're pretty certain we can get to that. The other thing that I want to get to, but I'm not sure whether we shall be able to do that yet, is getting you to call in. It might sound easy, but it's not particularly expensive. And also, the other point about it is that, like it or not, if you want to ring in, you're going to have to pay. And I don't know what that costs. I've got no idea at all. I don't know where you live or anything else, but the cost for that won't, under any circumstance, be met here. I haven't got that much money. Right, let's have a look then and see where we are. Sally Spencer, Martin Hare, Matthias Barrett. Are my Canadian producers watching? We should be all right then. Sandra Cheek, Sally Spencer again, and Valerie Page, also good evening. Hello, Valerie. Lovely to see you on as well. Now, all the things I thought we might talk about tonight was your views on climate change. We're told all these things, and we're expected to accept it, and it may well be true. Now, read a report yesterday, or was in the report? Was it? Oh, there was a report in one of the television newses yesterday to say that there is a quite a considerable increase in the number of polar bears. So that's the North Pole, I think. And the ice at the South Pole is thicker than it's been for some time. So what does that say about climate change? I don't, and global warming. I don't know. You tell me what you think about it. The other thing I thought we might talk about tonight, with a little bit of luck, is we tried, when we was trying out last week, thought about the question of your views on what kind of a king the present one will make. I reckon it's a question of waiting to see, but he's on an apprenticeship of, I don't know, 40, 50 years or more. So you really ought to be able to do the job anyway. So I don't know about that. I want your calls on it. Or as I say, your calls, your notes. I can't do calls yet because we've not got to it. And Valerie Page, thank you very much. Yes, I am feeling better. I didn't know whether last Monday night whether I was going to meet my maker or not. Apparently not. We're still here. So we shall see. We now have 10 calls. Can we move that up to about 10,000 and see where we get to? Anyway, those are things. Anything else you want to put on there? Write anything else down there that you want me to open up the thing for, and so that other people can make their views known on it as well, if you wish. And that, as I say, if that carries on, and if we get enough people, then I'll just run it. I don't have any problem with that at all. So give us a shout on the squawk box at the side here where all the messages are, and we'll see. So I want to know about your views on climate change. I want to know how much you believe and how much you don't believe. And there's another point about this as well. The statisticians, the people who say we've got this problem, we've got that problem with the other, with the global warming and all the rest of it, they say that they've got pretty certain data that goes back, I don't know, something like 100 years, I think, since they started collecting it seriously. And everything is indicating that it is global, is warming up and all the rest of it. And I'm not arguing with that because I don't know. But the thing is that if these people, these so-called experts, have got these figures and they projected some of the stuff that they projected to us about what's going to happen, then they also know when Armageddon is due, when, you know, when we can't live here any longer. But nobody's actually said, they've not given any idea. So are we looking at 100 years? Are we looking at 500 years? Are we looking at 1,000? I don't know. And if it is a very low figure, aren't these people under some sort of obligation to say to people, well, tell your grandchildren not to have any babies? I don't know. You tell me. Sandra says, having gone to the shops today, I failed to see how they call it global warming. It was freezing. Well, that's true. I went out today, went to see some friends in St Ives, and it was really cold. And last night, for the first time yet, I switched the central heating on. Now, that's the first time this year. And what is it, about 28th of September? So I don't know. And anyway, more about that, but it's got to come from you. I want to know what you think about these things. And also, as I say, I also like to know how you think Charles will get on as the king. As I said, my view on it probably is, good gracious me, Lieutenant Commander Fred Spenlow's on. I didn't realize. Hello, sir. Yes, I am better, mate. Thank you very much indeed. And thanks for tuning in. Anyway, your views, if you will. And if you put your views up there, I'll carry them on and I'll run the thing. So there you are. We've now moved up to 12. So instead of 12, I mean, you know, when we've done it before, we've had about 2. We've now got 12. I just wonder if you can shove it up to about 12,000, or is that greedy? I don't know. Anyway, give us a call, and please let me know also what you think about Charlie getting the big job, get the top job. I don't know. You tell me. Man, this naval contingency on here tonight. I can see. What's the other one? Splice the main brace, is it? Incidentally, while you're on here, Fred, do they still do that? Do they still? Because it's something to do with rum, isn't it? I don't know, because I was a mere soldier, but we didn't get any rum. But do they still do it, or have they stopped it? And what strength is the rum by the time it gets down to the people who've got to drink it? Is it weak or is it not weak? You've come on here, so you might as well tell me. We're using your expertise now. So come on, sharpen up. 12. We've still only got 12. That's not enough. I'm not doing programs with 12 people. The 12 that are on, thank you very, very much indeed. Get your friends on. Because I don't want to do all the talking. And if there's anything else you'd like to ask me as well, please do ask me and I'll try and put you right about it. And if you've got a question that you think I can't answer and you think any of the listeners can, pose it on here and we'll see. It may be that, we can get an answer. Oh, numbers going up. We can get an answer from one of the other listeners or watchers, viewers, whatever you call us now. Actually, not. This is television. This is big stuff. This, not live radio. What a scream! I'm quite enjoying. Oh no, good. The numbers are still going up. Where are they all coming from? Anyway, as I said, for the new ones, I'm not going to keep doing this, but I'll do it again. The bits and pieces tonight, global warming and all that sort of thing. Your views on it. Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Do you think the experts have it right? Do you think the experts even know? You tell me about it. Fred says, I was never old enough to draw my lot and they stopped it before I was. Oh, so it's been stopped some while then, Fred. Thank you very much indeed. Matthias says, my Canadian producer, by the way, says, would Charles be better if he wasn't married to Camilla? Is another good one. Think about it. Just imagine the difference. I mean, I did several programs at the time that Diana died. And I mean, the attitude then, she was, I think, probably the most hated woman in the world. Now she is effectively the Queen of England. So I don't know. Mark, good evening, by the way. Thank you very much indeed. And Martin Hare says, what do you think of the new Prime Minister? Who was that magician? What did he used to say? Not a lot. All I can say is if we look at, I mean, the criticism that has come from the things that the new Chancellor at Exchequer has brought into being this last few days, I don't know where we are. I was talking to somebody today at St Ives, and they were acutely concerned about it. And obviously, the pound is gone down considerably against the dollar. Is it still the top side of the dollar, or has it dropped any more, or has it gone up? I don't know. The last figure, I think it was one about 3p difference or 3 cents difference or whatever it was. But I think, yeah, it's fair comment to ask what I think about the new prime minister. To be honest, I'm not very sure, but I'd like to hear other people's views on it. I mean, it was either her or Sunak, who I would imagine by now is packing his cases to go back to America to his mansion and jobs over there, I would imagine. Reference to King Charles, I have to say that I have absolutely no respect for the man, following the way he carried on with Camilla. But we shall see. As for her, I don't like her. That is Sandra saying that. And again, she has every right to say that. For the time being, while we're still allowed to say things like that, how long it will be before it's stopped, I don't know. I've got no idea at all. But again, anybody else coming on, oh, good Lord, look at the figures now. Anybody else coming on might have a different view. What do people think about King Charles as a king and as a person? And also, are you all now perfectly happy to have Camilla as queen? Bearing in mind that when I did programs at the time of Diana's death, I don't think there was anybody who didn't hate her. And now look how things appear to have changed. Anyway, just drop me a note and I'll make sure it gets read out. And then other people will pick up on it, I no doubt. But as another good question as well, would people have accepted him more, maybe if he hadn't married Camilla? It's another interesting take on it, really. I thought about that. So come on, shout! Oh Lord, look at that figure! Shouting some more, and get your friends on, and let's get this thing going for a bit and see what we can do with it. And as I've said before, if people take to it, then I shall do it. And if people take to it, I shall do it when we want it. At the moment, I've got tonight. I shall do tonight's, and if tonight's is successful, there'll be another one on Friday, and then we shall have a word over the weekend and decide. Well, shall we do it another night a week, an extra night a week? We'll see. Excuse me. Anyway, come on, sharpen yourself. Oh, the numbers stopped. Can we have some more? Come on, sharpen yourselves up. So those are the things. And if there's anything you want to bring up for people to talk about, as indeed Matthias did a little while ago, bring it up, put it on here, and I will read it out, and perhaps other people will have a view on that. I don't know. You've got to work with me on the program. If you don't work with me, it won't work. If you do work with me, it certainly will. There's no doubt about that at all. And we'll make it work. And as I said also earlier on, we are working on the question of getting music on it. We've pretty well sorted that out now. And the only one that's still a bit in doubt is how we can manage, if we can manage, to get you to come on like we did on the other program, on the regional program, on the what you call it, radio. I mean, we're not sure yet about the price of that and how it would cost. Valerie says man has decimated the rainforests, and those forests absorbed carbon dioxide, which will have a long-term effect on climate change. We should all be concerned about this. Well, fair comment. I think people are concerned about it. The question is, Val, are they getting the true answers? And I don't know, we don't know how much of it is just projection, how much of it is guesswork, how much of it is research. And if it is research, and if they carry on researching in the way that they have recently, or when I say recently, this last 50 or 60 years, I suppose, then by now, with the figures that they've amassed and the fact that they can project into the future, how long has the planet got? Are we talking about 100 years? Are we talking about 500 years? Are we talking about 1,000? I don't know. Your views on that as well, if you will. And anything else that could. Oh, another thing. How do you feel about the fact that just about every television program now has to come with a Gettysburg Address at the beginning telling us why we shouldn't watch it. How do you feel about it? Is it necessary? Is it even remotely necessary? I mean, a week or two ago, they put an episode of Dad's Army on and put a caution at the beginning of it. Dad's Army. Dad's Army. And it gets one of these Gettysburg's Address at the beginning saying, be careful, you might get upset by this. Who the hell ever got upset about Dad's Army? Even the men who fought in the war laughed at it and enjoyed it. I don't know, I'm sure. So what do you think about those notices? Is it political correctness gone wrong? You tell me. You tell me. Sally makes a very good point. You can't erase history. Never were truer words spoken. And neither, incidentally, can you erase it by making excuses for it. The bottom line on it is if a programme comes on the television you don't like, switch it off. Don't mess everybody else about, and don't keep giving us lectures at the beginning of things like Dad's Army on the buses and one thing or another. The question is, even if we went carbon neutral, how do we get industrializing countries? China and India. How do we get them to stop polluting? How can we possibly do it? Are we being actually taken for idiots over this? I mean, and it's quite right what Matt said, these people are paying no attention to this at all. They're opening, I think they're still opening coal mines. Did somebody tell me? I don't know which of them still open. Was it China? Still opening coal mines and one thing or another. And in the meantime, they're all right. But it's costing us more and more and more to live. I mean, the irony of some of it puts me in mind of Cambridge, of course. Cambridge used to be a beautiful city, isn't now, but it used to be a beautiful city, a really beautiful city. And then we started to elect burghers to it. We've now got a system where to go into town to shop, well, it's just not affordable. It's no longer affordable. I mean, 20, 25 quid for a day's parking is nothing at all. So therefore, people don't go there to shop or to go. I was only saying the other day, it's over 10 years since I was in the middle of the town, and they've got a quaint idea here that there is ever increasing traffic congestion, which will always be the case. And the more traffic congestion they get here, the more the lunatics close more roads. Now, I would have thought that the best way to get rid of congestion is to open the roads, not close them. But they don't seem to realise that. I mean, is it something? Am I getting this wrong? Because it seems to me that they're doing precisely the thing that they shouldn't do. But anyway, there you go. And as Matt says, how do we get the industrialized countries like China and India and that to not pollute? We won't. Absolutely no, because they're kind of looking after themselves. We're not. And it seems to me that we're paying the price for it. Your views, though, please. Your views, if you will. Still want some more? Haven't got enough listeners yet, views yet, to make it not, well, we've got them, but we need more to make it pay. No doubt about that at all. So, get your papers and pencils out or your laptops and let's have a message from you, and then we shall know what we're doing. There's no telephone number for me to give you or anything else. You've just got to rattle off that. You've obviously, you know where I am because a lot of you are on here. So if there is somebody that you think should be watching who isn't, give him a bell or give him a shout. Paula Clark says, does Greta dictate to China? Of course she doesn't. She only dictates to people who are prepared to listen to her. And just imagine some of them that she is listening to, that are listening to her as well. I mean, she was back at home anyway. She's a child, really, for all practical purposes, and she's a mouthpiece for somebody else. I think in many cases, that's how I feel. I might be wrong, but that's how I see it. I think she's a mouthpiece for other people. But there you are. These people come along, and we have to put up with them, it's a bit of a shame. But anyway. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, Charles is going to be the king and Camilla the queen. I see that on the royal website, both Harry and Andrew are right at the bottom of the list of royal family. I'm not altogether surprised about that, but you're quite right. I mean, he said he was going to do quite a lot of radical changing of it, and I suppose. But the other thing is, there's some fair comment in him doing that as well, because we were sitting here watching them all on the balcony some time ago, and I said, well, it was before I lost my wife, but and we were saying, and I said, if they get many more people on that royal balcony, I said it'll fall down because you couldn't move on there; they were squished up against each other, all on the royal balcony at Buckingham Palace. So yes, we could probably do with a few less. Well, we certainly could do with a few less. I know that people say they cost us money. I'm not sure about that. I'm not so sure they cost us money. I think probably they, in some aspects, they pay their way. And I don't think that the question of money, I don't think that the money is so much the principle of, who becomes a royal now. You can sort of be, I don't know, window cleaner, and if you happen to accidentally marry the first royal person, then you all of a sudden you're on that balcony, as it were. So I think it's certainly time they trimmed it. There's no doubt about that at all. Family members below the Duke of Gloucester and the Duke of Kent. Is that right? Oh, so family members queued out below the Duke of Gloucester and the Duke of Kent. Well, that'll lose them a few. There's no doubt about that at all. We shall see. Anything else you want to bring up? Bring it up. You're most welcome, and I'll shout it out and see what we can do. Yes, the numbers are all right for the time being, but I want some more, though. I want some more. And we've got, if we run just this program, we've now got about another 38 minutes, something like that, to get to take the figure up further. And if the figure goes up, but the more the figure goes up, the more likely I have to carry on doing them. It's absolutely true. No doubt about that at all. So, what else do you want to ask me, or what else do you want me to talk to you about? You tell me. Get on this machine at the side here, this squawk box thing on the side, and let me know what you want what you want us to do with the program. Quicker rather than later, I think. Probably the thing. Yeah, sooner rather than later, perhaps. Trying to think if there's anything else I can tell you. Yes, I was ill Monday night, but ill. Been out perfectly all right all day, and came home, and all of a sudden I was on the floor with a bucket for a bit, being just about as ill as I've ever been. I rather wanted to die for a bit, I thought. Anyway, we shall see. Another good point has been made here, and I think there might be some validity in it, and it is that, like it or not, Charles will never get the respect his mother enjoyed. You see, and another thing, the way they fuzzed around that. I mean, before they married, and when it was all speculative, people were saying, "Oh, she'll never be queen," and then the authorities said, "Oh no, well, she'll be the Duchess of Cornwall. She'll be this, she'll be that, she'll be the other." The situation is that she, as soon as she married Charles, she became the Princess of Wales. There's no doubt about that. And as I said many times on the other program, when she marries the Queen, or when she marries the King, she will eventually become the King when he is crowned. And that is indeed what's happened now. And they're still calling her the Queen Consort. It makes no difference, really. When Edward VIII cleared off in 36, because he couldn't marry Mrs. Simpson, and there are varying views on that as well. The Baldwin said at the time, he said, the woman who marries the king necessarily becomes the queen. So there you are. And she has now become the queen. Call her what you like. She can be called they could have continued to call her the Duchess of where was it? The Duchess of Cornwall, I think. But it doesn't make any difference at all. She's the queen. And another interesting one here. How long is too long for Charles to reign? I think that's an implication on how long it should be before, shall we say, the boy becomes king in his place. Will he abdicate? I don't think. I don't think he will abdicate. Actually, his mother never would have done. That's for sure. But I think the implication of this question is, did he ought to move ahead after a decent time and let William have the job? Is William let? Somebody asked me this the other day, and then they said, "Is William yet want? Does he want it yet? Is he ready for it, or has he got other things? I mean, he's got a family to bring up for a start. I mean, I know they don't effectively do much bringing up, but I also know the point you make about yes, he's got children to bring up, and maybe he doesn't want the job. I mean, I don't know. The question might be is what do you think might happen if he was offered the job tomorrow? Would he take it? Would he say no, I don't want it yet? I don't know. Anyway, give us a shout, and we want some more bits and pieces to talk about, if you will. In the meantime, as I said, I shall be watching the figures tonight. I shall be seeing what happens, and either I'll certainly run it again on Friday, but after that, it will be a question of did you want it or didn't you want it? And we shall decide the answer to that by the number of callers that we get, people who come. Sally also says she doesn't think he'll abdicate. He pledged his life to the crown, and I think he'll stick it out. He may well do that. There's one thing about it, by dint of the time, he's not going to do as long as his mother. Oh, she's going to be a very old man, no doubt about that at all. I mean, she really, it's difficult. She's not put a foot wrong, really, has she? And somebody the other day was like, who was it was telling me and why? Yes, I had some friends in Antigua, and they were talking about some more of these islands, not declaring UDI, but coming out and kicking us out effectively and becoming independent, which is the same thing, I suppose. I don't know. So I think whoever it was had been in Antigua with friends and family, and they were saying over there at the dinner while they were over there, that they wanted out. And it seems to me that eventually, and perhaps in the very near future, several more of them will do, and they'll want out. They want independence. And is that a bad thing or is it a good thing? I don't know. Is it in there against? Is it ingratitude? I don't know. Some people will say we've done terrible things for them. Some people will also say we've done them a lot of good. Now there are those who are angling for independence. So if that's the case, do they want it? And if they want it and they demand it, then what rights have they got, as far as we're concerned, after that? None, I would suspect. I don't know. Anyway, give us a call, and let's talk about some other things as well. I don't know what else there is to talk about tonight. Really, I haven't heard any news today. Is there anything that we can pick up on today's news? I've not heard anything. I've been out all day, so I don't know. I presume that we're still as it were. Well, I was going to say still financially stable. No, I don't think we are actually, are we? This debt that we're running up. Our grandchildren won't see the back of this. So, you sort of think to yourself, is there any hope for any of us at this stage? I don't know. I mean, I can't see. I remember ever so many years ago, it's a funny thing actually, and when you think about the way things are set over dining tables, and I mean, there's so much that you're not allowed to say in this country now. I mean, free speech is dead and gone, been dead a long while. And so things you can't say, but occasionally, well, not occasionally, often, if you're sitting at a bit of a dinner party in somebody's house, and there's four of you, six of you, possibly eight, I don't know. The things that are said across those dinner tables are things that people can't, daren't, and aren't supposed to say publicly. And I remember ever so many years ago, well, yes, in the mid-90s, we were at a dinner with a very accomplished television producer and his wife. And we were talking about this kind of thing on a scale that it was at that time, which is a lot better than it is now. And all of a sudden he said to me, Dick, we've seen the best of it. Now, I'd thought that for some time, and I said, yes, I think we have. Now, fast forward, last night I was talking to a firearm dealer in Doncaster, and we were talking about the same things, about how things are panning out here year by year. And he said, Dick, we've seen the best of it. How many of you have heard that said? We've seen the best of it. Have we seen the best of it? I personally think we most certainly have. I thought that over 25 years ago. Have we seen the best of it? Will we ever see any sort of an improvement? It doesn't matter what you, it doesn't matter where you look. I mean, where we live now, I've got a couple of classic cars, not massive ones, but nice ones. And I live where the roads, even the main roads, are only fit for crawler tractors. And it's quite funny actually, because in the little conurbation where I live, I don't think they've done anything to the roads since it was opened 50 years ago. And that's all right, because the roads are not bad. But in one place, about how long ago? I don't know, about 2 years ago, on one of the corners, the road really had mangled up on that corner. So eventually representations were made for them to come. As I say, it had been laid about 50 years, to come and just repair that corner. So they duly came 2 years ago. Now, the mess, the hole which they came to repair, is worse than it was before they started to repair it. So I mean, I don't know, you know, just, we went also to somewhere in Somerset, and it was near Somerton. And the reason we went, we'd gone down to our little hideaway down there, and the Antiques Roadshow or something had called it an antique shop down there, and they'd got a lot of antique firearms and weapons and one thing or other in the shop. So we went down there, and I said, well, we'll have a ride down there tomorrow and see if we can have a look at the shop, which we did. But about 6 miles before we got into the town, we ran onto a ordinary 2-lane road, traffic one way and traffic the other, no dual carriageway or anything. And we'd gone down that road about 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, down the middle of the road, where the white lines had been, the road was open all the way down, and down the line of the white lines was grass. Now, if that's not nature reclaiming, I don't know what is. And you could have mowed the grass down the middle of the road, and you could see that the tar had all broken open all the way down for about 4 miles, and it was simply grass where the white line should have been. Well, is that nature reclaiming? I think it is. Oh, what classic cars do you have? I have a 1969 Wolseley 1.2, 1.3, twin carbs, pretty little thing, 4-door, 47,000 miles from new in 1969. And the other one, 4 years older than me, 1934. Morris 10, immaculate, absolutely immaculate, beautiful car. In fact, I did a wedding with it 3 weeks ago, and the bride and groom were highly pleased with it. It really is a beauty, that is. It's not been in any way, I don't know, bodged up or anything like that. It is exactly as it was when it came out of the factory. It's had no restoration, none at all, doesn't need any. And it's absolutely beautiful. So those are the two I've got at the moment. But as I say, and this is rather sad, because when I bought them, I bought the little Wolseley to use as an everyday car, because I'd got rid of the one that I had when Betty was here. So, but anyway, what happened in the interim since then is that it's driving it on these roads here is killing it. The bangs and crashes as you go along are just hideous. So I've decided to put that one in the other garage, and I'm going to get myself a little, what do they call them? Jimny, little Suzuki Jimny. I'm going to get one of them for running about in, because Our roads are not fit for the sort of cars that we've got here at all. Sally says she's envious of the car. She loves old cars. Well, there you go. I like them, and I thought, well, I'll have them. When I sold the big one, it was something to do with the money, I suppose. So I bought them, and I'm very pleased with them. Particularly, I'm pleased with the Morris, which is really beautiful. But anyway, there you go. I'll see if I can get some photos sometime and put them on here, and you can see them. Right, so the things I've talked about, let's be hearing from you about them. If you've got any views. It seems to have stood still now, the number, for a bit. Are we not going to get any more? Because if we're not going to get any more than this will be the last one. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's a good number, and most grateful I am to the people who have come in, but they've got to bring their friends with them. There's no doubt about it. I will happily do it with all the pleasure in the world, but not to as low a number as this. We're all right. We've not, well, actually, we've lost one since 8 o'clock. So I'm not bothered about losing one, but although we shouldn't. But it's got to come up. It's got to come up more. So get your friends, go and drag them in by their hair. Do what you like. But certainly that's got to be here. Subframes absolutely sound. Yes, indeed, Fred. Yeah, absolutely. 47,000 miles from new. And it's done the London. Yes, this is a Wolseley. It's done the London to Brighton classic run 3 times, but that London to Brighton run, it did it from Liverpool all 3 times. So it's done Liverpool to Brighton 3 times, as you know, one of these enthusiast runs. But they didn't go from London; they went from Liverpool. So it ain't a bad car. It's not a bad car at all, really. In fact, the only problem I can think of with it, and I can't find a way around it yet, I'll have to have a new switch, I think, is that the right-hand indicator, the little, the one that you press for the right if you're turning right, it won't cancel itself. And so it's a bit hairy. You've got to remember to cancel it, or you always look as if you're turning right. Valerie, yes. Valerie says we need to advertise this somehow. Yes, we do. Bless your heart. And Matthias says, share on your Facebook pages, everybody. So there you go. You've all got Facebooks, clearly. So tell them, talk about it. And then we shall get some more listeners, viewers, because I want to carry on doing this. I really and truly do, because I want to get to the point where we can certainly play music and also possibly take calls. So we want to continue to work on this, but you've got to work with me. Can't do it all. Not at my age. Good Lord of me. Soon be time I was gathered to my fathers. Sally has now shared it on her Facebook page. Share it on them all. Oh, figures are going up again. It will help if you will. I will do this. I want to do this because I enjoy doing it. But you've got to make these people come, if you will. And as I say, sharing it on your Facebook pages should help it. And certainly, in order that people know they're not wasting the time, I will do another on Friday. Darren says, Richard, my dad is called Graham Cochrane and he's your biggest fan. Yes, indeed, Graham. Nice to know that you're with us. I would expect nothing less from you. You've been very kind over the years, and thank you very much indeed. Well, I mean, it's kind of you to come on anyway. I mean, I'm sure there are better things to do than listen to me, but at the same time, it gives you the chance to, if it's only over the airwaves, to mingle with other people and get other people's views. So please do. And thank you, Darren. Bless your heart. So share it. And indeed, in that case, Darren, tell your dad to share it on the Facebook thing that we're doing it. And as I say, we'll do one on Friday and see what the figures are on Friday and look forward to it. Anything else you got? Do you want to talk about? Come on. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Roman roads still survive 2,000 years on, but our modern roads have had it in 2 years. That's very true. Very true. And, you know, I was talking to a builder. Yes, that's the one from the Wirral, Fred. Yes. I was talking to a builder the other day, and he was saying that we are now, and this is a master builder. He's not British Labour, it's his business. He said, we're now building houses with life expectancy of about, are you ready for this? 50 years. You've got houses in Lebanon been there 500 and more. Oh, Valerie says she's lost the channel completely. So she says she got no picture or sound. Can anybody else tell me they're there, please? Give us a shout and see if you can still hear me, because Valerie has apparently lost us. She's out in the Suffolk area towards the east side. Might like to know if other people can hear. In the meantime, would we? Oh, all's good there. Yes, evening. Oh, and Neil Baker's. Oh, well, he's from that area, Neil. Nice to know you're on as well. Another long-time listener, Neil, 25 years, I think. Paula Clark says it's all good there. Sally, it looks as if it's a problem your end, but anyway, we shall see. If we're talking about this global warming and thing, I mean, do we want it to get warmer? Do we want it to get manageably warmer? I'm not talking about what the Armageddon that we're threatened with, but would you like, generally speaking, would you like the climate to be a bit on the warmer side generally? I'm not talking about 40 degrees or whatever that is in foreign. 40 degrees, I don't know what that is in English. What is it in English, 40 degrees? 100 and what? I don't know. The proper one, the Fahrenheit thing. That's the proper one. I don't know what 40 comes to. Anyway, would you like things to be a bit warmer generally? I don't know. Give me a call about that as well, if you will. And yes, it's being heard loud and clear on the East Coast. So I don't know. 8:40 now, so we've got about another 20 minutes. In which time I'm looking for some more listeners. So tell your friends, get your friends. We need cold winters to kill off the viruses and the bugs. There's no doubt. Yes, definitely. But then we want it to warm up correspondingly in the summer, I suppose. I know one thing about it. Where I live, it's turned a lot colder this last couple of days. There's no doubt about that. And I can do without that because, like everybody else, of course, you don't want to put the heating on. No, well, again, you see, you think about it. What is it? The fifth most wealthy economy in the world, supposedly, and we're worrying about putting the central heating on. We're worried about whether we can buy enough food. I mean, what's all this about? Somebody's conning somebody. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt at all. We're being taken as fools with this. I think anyway. I mean, I don't know. You shoot me down if you think I'm wrong, but we shouldn't be having to think about things like this. Until quite recently, you put petrol in your car, it got empty, you filled it. But now you almost dread going to the garage. This ain't right for a fifth most wealthy economy in the world, is it? I don't know. I personally think we're being took to the cleaners, but I don't know to what extent. Sally says she's sitting there wrapped in a dog's blanket. Can't afford to put the heating on yet. Somebody there sitting in a chair with a dog's blanket, daren't put the heating on. Where in God's name are we living? And it's projected to get worse. I mean, did we ought to be even putting up with this? I just don't know. And how much of it is the fault of the people that we elect to govern us? I know a lot of it is because of outside problems, as you might say. But I mean, how many of those are truthful? You see, the difficulty with people talk about any of these things, the first thing you have to think about for anybody in authority, glorious leaders and that, the first thing you have to say about before they say anything is to remember they're all liars. And if you start from that point, which is true, I mean, they're professional liars. We all know that. I didn't used to be allowed to say that on the other program. I didn't used to. In fact, I used to call them shysters, which of course they are. But then I got the BBC said I mustn't do that. Mustn't call them shysters. They didn't like the idea of it. However, the BBC don't run this channel. We're an island. We should be self-sufficient. We shouldn't be relying on Russia at war to make our prices of fuel, right? No, of course we shouldn't. Should we have closed the pits? Should we have let various industries go? And some went abroad, of course. Why didn't we? I don't know. But certainly, as far as the pits are concerned, I mean, should they open the pits again tomorrow? Were that possible? I think it's a wonderful thing when you think Nigel has just sent us a friend's request. Granted. And the other thing about it is, and another listener said this: where is North Sea? Where is all our North Sea gas? Well, I suppose we've given it somebody else. I can remember when they first discovered oil in the North Sea. The headline in the newspaper almost the next day, I think, was a blazing headline that said North Sea oil, a Texas on our doorstep, which it would have been. And immediately, the people that we trust to govern us started finding ways of getting rid of it. I mean, it's almost treason when you think about it. I mean, how dare they? That was all ours. Now we're going cap in hand to other countries to try to get some in the name of God. And have they not just said, and I don't know, has it not just been said that they found some more oil in the sea or gas? I can't remember which it was now. I think it was oil. And if so, how long will it be before them shysters in Parliament are finding ways to hand it out to everybody else? I don't know. Anyway, your thoughts on this, not mine. I want somebody to come on and say, no, you're wrong. The difficulty is that they're very often electric cars. The battery technology is nowhere near good enough. Is nowhere near good enough heat source. Pump heating is not good at all. Very expensive to run. And these two are being forced upon it. Well, yes, I mean, the electric cars, read the statistics. I mean, I don't know. You have to dig out tons and tons of stuff to find a kit for the batteries and all the rest of it. And when the batteries have died, nobody wants them. You haven't got anywhere to put them. You can't dispose of them, apparently. Now, please tell me that I'm wrong about that. Tell me that there is an availability to take dead electric car batteries, because I don't know of any. Thanks about that, Neil, by the way. Good to have that one. So, yes. And do you have an electric car? I don't. But if you've got an electric car, let's lay aside what might be the impracticability of one and simply ask, what's it like to drive, to run, and all the rest of it? Is it nice? Is it comfortable? Is there anything about it that concerns you? Talk to me if you've got an electric car. I'd like to, actually, in where we live in this little conurbation here, I think there are 3. You hear them whooshing by you, but there's no engine to speak of. But I mean, are they as good as we're brainwashed into thinking they are? If it's costing that much to make the batteries and we've got no way of getting rid of the batteries, is that surely not a problem, along with the problem of using oil and gas? I don't know. Tell me. I want to know. Again, I think that a lot of what happens, we're lied to a lot, incredible amount of lying done. And in fact, they do it shamelessly. Well, I think it's part of a politician's knapsack, if you know what I mean. The ability to lie and deceive and cheat and all the rest of it. I've got a diesel car. Wouldn't entertain an electric car. I saw a lady nearly struck by a Tesla because she didn't hear it coming. Now, that's another thing. Some time ago, they said, I thought this was a bit ironic. Somebody had said that they were going to have to adapt the electric cars in such a way that they made a noise. Oh, right. I see. So, I mean, you couldn't make it up. You couldn't write it. You couldn't write it. But anyway, there you go. More, if you will. We've still got time to go. It's 12 minutes. And tonight I shall wrap it at 9. And then I shall look at Friday and I shall compare the figures and make a decision. So now what you want to be doing is telling your friends, and I will be looking at the various things that I promised tonight, the question of callers and the question of music. I certainly want to put some music in it because and put some music in it, it means I can do something besides listening to me and talking. So please tell your friends, and don't, whatever you do, don't be afraid to, and put it on your Facebook page and advertise it. What is the word? Prostitute it flagrantly anywhere. Tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell the bloke up the road, tell anybody, and then we shall see where we are. On Friday, maybe we shall get some more. And if we do, then I will run them. I will continue to run them. And we shall continue with the assistance of my Canadian producer to deal certainly without any question with the possibility of music. I think that's pretty well all going now already, really. But we'll make sure that it works, and that'll break the thing up a bit as well. So, in the meantime, more calls if you will. Keep coming, keep them coming. You're doing all right. You're doing all right, but it needs to be more. It's called greed. So, what else do you want to talk about? We've made several things tonight. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring up? And yeah, I'd like. We've not got. No, we've not got. We don't have anybody yet with an electric car. Valerie says, "Dare we use local radio advertisements to advertise you?" I'm not sure about that. I don't think possibly not, Valerie. I think you can ring them up if you like. Wogan once advertised me. Wogan and his tribe one Saturday morning. I was going on the Saturday night, and in the week on the Thursday, I think he came on and gave the show a glittering. I bet he got into trouble over that afterwards as well. Tom says, "Evening, Richard. Thoroughly object to the electricity standing charge getting hijacked to pay for the supplies that went bankrupt." It's true. It's true. Why should we pay for failed companies? We're not expected to pay for others that fail. No, it's very true, that is. It always seems that it's the ordinary man on the Clapham omnibus that has to make all this up, pay all this back. It's the same with, as I say, it's huge debt. Although at least we know that there'll still be a debt there when our great grandchildren are here. If the world is still here on which our great grandchildren can live, we don't know that. We don't know whether we've told the truth. Nobody said how long the planet has got. If if what they say is true about the way they're getting more and more research all the time, then by now they should know how long the planet is going to last. And if they know within a little, then surely they should be telling us. I don't know, because they ought to be saying to us, well, look, ladies and gentlemen, this place is not going to be here in 200 years, so tell your great-grandchildren not to make any babies. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. You tell me what your view is. Let me see, is there anything else? Yeah, I love the idea of advertising on local radio. I think that'd be lovely. So, but I somehow don't think they'll sanction that. I don't think they'll like that at all. Might upset their planning. I don't know. It's a lovely thought. I wonder if I can get somewhere doing it. Let me think about. I'll think about that and see whether I can bamboozle some way into that. Perhaps I'll talk to people, people like you, and persuade you to, I don't know, get on there. I mean, obviously never had me on there, but who knows? We might be able to fool somebody for long enough to get them to say it, which would be nice, of course. But, we shall see. Right, anything else? You're running short of time now. I've got 7 minutes and then I'm off. I've got a nice bottle of Malbec waiting, and I'm going to have a drop of that tonight. Stagecoach is stopping routes 11 and 12 around Bury St Edmunds, Newmarket and Cambridge. What do you think should be done about that? Does that affect any of you? So have we got listeners here for around the Bury St Edmunds, Newmarket and Cambridgeshire area? They're scrapping routes 11 and 12. What should be done about that? And they closed all the railway lines around there a long time ago. Now they're closing all the way. We're going to have to start And if we can't afford to run the cars, what are we going to have to do? Walk? It's interesting. It really is. And the more of this you see, and the more of you, the more appalling the state we're in when you think about it. And how can it ever improve? How do you improve it? Where would you start to improve it as it is now? The things that would have to be done to make any sort of improvement at all. I mean, the first thing they're going to have to do to be, and this is just one of my hobby horses, and I'm sure other people have got other ones, but the first thing you've got to do is relay all the roads before the place is fit for any sort of transport at all. And what the state of the roads is costing the motorist daily in repairs, God only knows. I can't even, it must be costing the motorists millions. And of course, the thing is, we used to have a thing called the road fund license. Now, the road fund license, that money was ring fenced to look after the roads. So a few years ago, some years ago, the thieving government decided, no, they're going to take that into the, we're not going to have that on its own. No, we must have that money and we'll look after the roads anyway. They're called liars. That's what they're called, liars, categorical liars. So I don't know. You tell me. So we're moving in now. I've got about 5 minutes and then I shall go. But I wanted to thank the people who have come on tonight because it's given us a start. And I would like it to continue. And I would like it to continue much more. And if we can get more listeners on Friday, then I shall run shows next week. It's as easy as that. And it will be my pleasure to do so. But as I said all along, really, you've got to work with me and see where we get to. And we, in the meantime, will try to make improvements to the program in terms of what we can do and can't do. And there are things we can. We can introduce other things into the program, not just the talk. We can introduce other things. And as I say, particularly, I'd like to do music. And also, eventually, I'd like to, if it continues to run, I'd like to have callers as well, so I can speak to somebody. But we shall see. So it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to do it. Absolute pleasure to do it. No doubt about it. Oh, they're moving off now. People are moving off now because they think I'm going, and I am. So let's think in terms of Friday, same time, see where we. Oh, Valerie says, lovely to see you. Well, thank you very much, Valerie, and you as well. And I am mindful of what you did for me before I left the BBC. Very mindful indeed. You were another tower of strength at a time when, we needed it. And we got it from you and people like you in spade loads. No doubt about that at all. So thank you. And stay in touch. Stay in touch. You know how to contact me anyway. Michael says, have you seen Christopher South? I did enjoy your shows together. Funny thing you should say that. No, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him for months and months and months. And I enjoyed the shows with him. In fact, I'll go so far as to say this. Worked with many men in my time over the years, different men, different jobs, all the rest of it. And there have been two men that I've worked with who have stood out like beacons ahead of anybody else I've worked with. One of them was a railwayman called Percy Moore, and the other one, who stood his equal, was Chris South. So nobody regrets not seeing him more than I do. I think it's very sad, but that is that wasn't my choice, by the way. But anyway, as I say, he was one of two absolute shining stars. So it was a delay. And we'd known each other 50 years. I mean, he's a lovely man, lovely man. Anyway, it wasn't to be. So no, I've not seen him now for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. I said some very early in the year, I think. Well, and yes, the last time I spoke to him was the day before the last lockdown, I think, for the last plague that we've had. I can't remember which one it was. I don't know, whatever it was. Anyway, and it's been really entertaining. Great that you found a way back on from the radio. Yeah, it is. I mean, I've enjoyed it. And the clock's going to strike in a minute. And when that clock strikes, I shall vanish in a puff of smoke. It'll be as easy as that. But thank you, and tell your friends, because we want the figure up when it comes to after the end of the Friday show. But for the time being, thank you very much to the people who have. Join us again on Friday. and bring your friends with you. Drag them with their hair if necessary, but bring them anyway. Come on, that clock struck now. You see, it's keeping me waiting. But anyway. Oh, Sandra says she's enjoyed tonight. Well, get there. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you to Tom. Thank you to all of you. It's been a delight. Take care, and I'll be back Friday if I'm spared. God bless. Take care.